Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. Make every moment more with FanDuel. 21 plus and present in Ohio. Bonus issued and non-withdrawable free bets that expire 30 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Ohio. Go live date. Unique user identity verification required. Offer ends on the go live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare is here, and so is Mountain Dew.
Roger that.
Now you can unlock in-game rewards like only Dew can.
Wait, what rewards?
A Dew Operator Skin.
Man, I love Operator Skins.
Dual double XP, and even Call of Duty points.
You're kidding me. Double XP and Call of Duty points? This is incredible. I can't believe it.
Soldier, get a hold of yourself.
Oh, roger that.
Look for specially marked packaging and visit mtndewgaming.com for details and restrictions. Open to U.S. residents 17 plus. Call of Duty points available on 12 and 24 packs and free 20 and 23.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Super J Cast. Yes, it's us. We're back again. I'm Joel, joined by David McDonald. It is Saturday 17th of December 2022. This is episode 239. Welcome back, Damon.
Hello everyone. What's going on? Hope everyone is well. Hope everyone is excited. Hope everyone got through tag leagues and all that to get to where we are now. Exciting times for Nuge, the Nuge, if you will. Not Ted Nugent, New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I wasn't expecting you to throw it back to me so quickly. I've got some bad news, actually. So, well, you might think this is good news. We no longer need to do this podcast, Damon, because a friend of the show on our Discord, Andrew, decided to log into one of these artificial intelligence websites and get them to write an episode of the Super J Cast, and I've sent it to you on WhatsApp.
I see.
We can read it. Let's role play it.
Okay.
And I guarantee it's better than the shit we usually come out with.
Probably is. Oh, God.
Right, you got it ready?
Yeah, I got it right here.
So this is the AI generated episode of the Super J Cast. Okay, so here we go. Hey Damon, welcome to the Super J Cast, the #1 podcast for all things New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Hey, Joel. Thanks for having me. I'm the fucking... I created this thing. It's always a great time to talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling. Oh, excuse me, NJPW and all the amazing wrestlers they have.
I mean, already it's better than the intro I usually do because they've actually mentioned the fact that we're talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling. But I will continue. That's right. And speaking of amazing wrestlers, today we're going to be discussing a very important topic.
What's that, Joel?
The size of their willies.
Wait, it says parenthesis, Damon laughs. And I did. Size of their willies. Oh boy, here we go. So Joel, which NJPW wrestler do you think has the biggest willy?
Well, I've heard some rumors about Great-O-Khan, but I don't know if they're true. What about you, Damon?
Oh, I got to load another one. I've also heard some things about Great-O-Khan, but I don't think we should be discussing the size of anyone's private parts on this podcast.
Obviously, never listened to the show before. You're right, Damon. Let's just stick to discussing the wrestling and leave the personal stuff out of it.
This bot stinks. Agreed. So, moving on from that topic, let's talk about the upcoming NJPW events and which wrestlers we're looking forward to seeing in action. Ugh.
So that's the end of the AI-generated script. But, I mean, when the thing popped up about discussing the size of their willies, I was convinced that was an actual transcript from an episode we've done. Because I'm sure we've discussed that several times in the past.
Without question. But, yeah. I mean, listen, it's a computer-generated thing, so it's not going to be perfect, but I think they we were in the ballpark. It started out like, okay, great. Yeah, we're talking about dicks. Yeah, absolutely. That's us. We're the Dick Podcast. I'm sure people have called us that before as well.
Well, I still think back fondly to the working titles that your missus was thinking that we could do at the start. The fuckheads. I think that was one of them.
Yeah.
Eating Jushin like his arsehole. That was another one.
I
It
still
really
like
rolls
that
off
one.
the tongue.
Yeah, I still like that. I have a soft spot in my heart for that one. Eating Jushin Lager's
Imagine that on
asshole.
the t-shirts.
Imagine Kevin Kelly popping on that one.
Giving us a shout out, Wrestle Kingdom. And the boys from Eating Jushin like his arsehole.
They're watching for sure. They'll be talking about it this week. Oh, well, we're back. We just slide right in. It's like riding a bike, Joe. It's like you don't miss a beat.
Well, I would like to thank our guest host who did a fucking tremendous job.
Yeah.
Even if I say so myself. So that was Lawrence and Evelyn. There was Mike and Tracy.
Yep.
John and Elliot, and Booze and J. Michael. Just fantastic stuff. Maybe very self-conscious about actually coming back on the show because I was thinking, fuck, they're all better than me. But you're back. We're back and you're stuck with us.
Yeah, this is it. Sorry, guys. This is what brought you to the dance. We gave you the platform to then listen to others do a better job than us. I know. I swear. I listened to the first one. It was the couple from Montreal, right? Oh, they're so funny and great, and I just love them. I swear I got to meet them someday. We got to meet them someday because they're just they're professional. Like, it just sounded like a professional show, whereas we just sound like two fucking idiots that just happened to buy some microphones.
We've got a producer. Why don't we have a producer?
We do. We have Dan, but yeah.
He's an editor. He's not a producer.
That's a good
different.
point. Yeah. No disrespect to Dan, of course, but yeah. It just sounded professional, and it sounded like a quality broadcast, like people who knew how to do a show. You know, they knew how to do a fucking show, and you could tell the chemistry. Thank God they have chemistry; they're together. And yeah, they were great. And Booze was always great. Fucking amazing job. And the dads were great. And who were the people in the middle? Who am I missing? The other couple. Right?
We have Mike and Tracy.
They were fucking tremendous.
Yeah, J. Michael, who was on. I had to basically bully J. Michael into hopping on with Booze because J. Michael does a ton of tremendous writing for Voices of Wrestling, but he really did not want to do a podcast. So
really?
We had to almost physically threaten him to jump on and do it. And I'm glad that he did. We'll definitely have him on again in the future.
Yeah, no doubt. So, I 1,000 thanks because it does give us a little break to recharge and I do like the idea of it in the sense that we allow other voices to be heard, you know, and I think that's an important thing. I think sometimes just getting pounded over the head with our dumb opinions, maybe, you know, it's good to have a different take and a different spin and a different feel and a different whatever. So yeah, I like the fact that we do it every year. And again, I like the fact that I fucking just kind of reset and it does recharge the battery, and it recharges the battery right in time for the best time of the fucking year.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to get on and talk to you today because we have a great deal to get through today. First of all, very important thing, we've got the awards to talk about, the Super J-Cast Year-End Awards.
There you go.
The ballot for that is live. It is pinned to our Twitter profile. So if you have not already voted, please go to twitter.com/TheSuperJcast and get voted. We've already got 141 responses in so far, which is really good. It'd be great if we could beat last year's total, which was around 250, I want to say. So yeah, definitely get voted on that, please. And thank you. Also, we have other awards to talk about, and those are the Tokyo Sports Awards, Damon. I don't know if you've had a chance to see these.
I haven't.
I will send them to you if you have not. So we have the Tokyo Sports MVP was Kazuchika Okada, runaway winner there. Match of the year was Okada versus Ospreay from the G1. Mm-hmm. Although not too far behind was El Desperado versus Jun Kasai with 3 votes compared to Okada and Ospreay's 6 votes. Tag team of the year was not won by New Japan team, but Okada and Cobb were not too far away. Outstanding Performance Award was, looks like it was
Kento
Miyahara. Yep, so Kento won in a runoff. Fighting Spirit Award was Great Khan, which was nice. So he beat Higuchi in the final round. Technique Award, Yuki Yoshioka. Rookie of the Year, Yuma Anzai. And Women's MVP, Syuri. So pretty good show for New Japan. No real surprises there with Okada versus Ospreay winning the two big ones, though.
Yeah. Okada with 15, I guess, votes. Number 2, Muda. Keiji Muda. However you want to slice it. So, and then Jay White got 1 vote, too. Probably by Jay White. Jay White's mom voted on that one. Wow, very interesting. They always, I will say that they always seem to get all kinds of different promotions involved, and maybe names that not only you might not be familiar with, but names that don't get a lot of press. Maybe don't get a lot of like. Here's a perfect example. That Fighting Spirit Award that you talked about, Okan, I'm looking at it, and Kojima came in fucking 3rd place. Well, all right. Good stuff there. Tokyo, but here's the thing. It is correct me if I'm wrong. It is a pretty political award, correct?
Yes, yeah, very much so. So, no real surprises there. They usually do intentionally sort of spread the votes amongst the other companies in Japan, but I just thought it was notable for Great Khan getting yet another award. So we will see if he's going to be getting a more prestigious award from the Super J-Cast Awards, and I will tell you, he's in with a good chance. Just looking at the results now, I'm not going to say for which category, but he is up there. All right. It looks like it's going to be a good year for our boy, the Great Khan.
All he needs is a Wrestle Kingdom match, Joel. All he needs is a Wrestle Kingdom match.
Well, yes. Well, someone who will not be having a Wrestle Kingdom match is Kota Ibushi. So there was a really interesting report from Joe Lanza at Voices of Wrestling, who do absolutely tremendous work getting the inside scoop for Japan and New Japan Pro Wrestling. So reports coming in that it seems that when his deal is up early next year, he's going to be leaving New Japan, and most likely Cyberfight reported to have tabled a rather large offer for him. Now, Ibushi himself has said that money is not really that important to him. You know what Ibushi's like. He wants to do his own thing and do his wacky Ibushi Pro Wrestling Institute with his miscellaneous polygon-shaped rings. But it could be that he finds his way over to Pro Wrestling Noah. That seems to be what people are saying is the most likely destination for him.
It's amazing. It's amazing how people who have money, Joe. I said it's amazing how people who have money don't care about money, but people who don't have any money, they care about money. All right, Jesus Christ.
How do you feel about Ibushi working Noah? Is that something you'd be tuning into? I suppose the first question I should ask you is: you feel sad about him almost certainly leaving New Japan?
I think it was inevitable. Again, it is pro wrestling, and relationships get severed, and then they always seem to get patched up because money's involved. I can't say I'm shocked. It is disappointing because he is one of the most talented guys that New Japan had. To lose that type of talent is sad, but yeah, that relationship just broke. It's strained. I couldn't see him returning, but he'll be able to do his own thing, and that'll make him happy, and the company will move on, and blah, blah, blah. But let's put it this way. Time heals all wounds, right? That's what they say. So I'm thinking, I want to be surprised in the future we see him again, but not in the near future. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you never say never. So the only real regret I have is that we do not see Kota Ibushi versus Red Narita match. I think that's sort of stylistically something that would be really fun to watch. I would like to see Ibushi pop up in AEW. I don't know if that's something he'd be interested in, but just think it will be fun just to see everyone losing their minds on Twitter for a start. And I still think there's unfinished business there with Kenny Omega. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. I'm a fan of Ibushi, not just within the New Japan context. I'm interested to see what he goes on to do next, and hope he finds some happiness for him and his mum, because they've been through a lot. So, all the best to them.
Give me your percentage. I'm sorry. Give me your percentages. You think I'm cutting you off all the time here. Sorry. Give me your percentages. You think AEW?
Pretty low, I would say.
Really?
Yeah. I would say sort of maybe 75% lower, 20% AEW, and then the smaller percentage that pops up. I don't know, DDT or somewhere, but I don't think he's interested in that, for what I understand. But I mean, it could be the odd dates for AEW. I don't think he's going to go and sign full time and be working Dynamite week in, week out. But I mean, certainly I wouldn't say no to him coming in for a few big shows during the year. I think that would be tremendous.
I think that's where we're leaning, right? I don't think any type of full-time contract, but him popping in on some big shows and have a little feud with somebody, that could easily be done, with just
do you think New Japan brass would mind about that?
You know what? Here's the thing. And this kind of encompasses a lot of what's going on in pro wrestling, and everybody getting all fucking flustered and getting on Twitter and being shocked that Michael Cole said Bullet Club, so now there's an alliance, and Suzuki was training with this guy, so now there's an alliance, and like pro wrestling's in a weird state, in the sense that the days of you could never mention this, or you could never be shown in a photo with that person, or I think that's all fucking gone. You know what I mean? I think those days are fucking well gone, especially with the one who kind of started that trend, Vince, no longer in the picture. So, I don't think.
Well, I think for now, apparently he wants back in.
He wants. There's a big difference between wanting. He never not wanted to be back in. It's Vince fucking McMahon. What do you think he's doing with his time right now? He's going out of his mind. He masturbates 3 times a day at least, just out of sheer boredom. He wants to get back in. He wants to get back in, of course. But I think, like I said, in this day and age, we should expect that and not lose our minds thinking that it means that there's going to be some type of working relationship. So, to answer your question, do I think New Japan would be upset if AEW worked stuff with Coda? No, I really don't. I don't think they would give a fuck. Now, that doesn't mean that a Forbidden Door show is going to feature him. I wouldn't go so far as to say that, but him working with them, nah. I think if anybody's holding on and clutching on to that, it's kind of passe at this point.
Yeah, I think New Japan would just be happy enough for him to keep his mouth shut and not blow whatever secrets they have out of the water, to be honest. So, yeah, I don't think they'd have any strong objections to him working AEW. So, yeah, exciting times for Ibushi. I'll be looking forward to seeing him back in the ring if he's healthy. All right, we also have an exciting match here. We've got Katsuyori Shibata versus Tom Lawler in a UWFI rules match at the Garyujima show on 28th of December. So, that one should be a lot of fun. And of course, it does beg the question, why is he not wrestling for New Japan? And the only conclusion I can come to, seeing him doing this match, seeing him, wrestling in AEW, I wonder if it's insurance related. Like maybe New Japan can't get him insured for their shows in Japan. And if that is the case, I'm letting the blame squarely at the Wrestling Observer newsletter now. They read the report about him and his brain, the brain surgery. I can imagine them reading that thing. They did what with his brain? No way. Burn the policy. So, yeah, that's my working theory at the moment.
I mean, look, it makes sense if that's the case. Of why it doesn't necessarily make sense that to do it, but it makes sense from in my eyes for that. I think that the way this has been handled with Shibata has been very, at best, it's been awkward, and at worst, it's been embarrassing, to be honest with you. Like the way that he was hyped up to be brought back, and then they change the rules, and then they don't change the rules, and then you don't see him forever, and then you see him wind up on the Forbidden Door show, and just everything that has happened so far. Like he's not back. He's not back. He hasn't been back. To say that he has been back is a fallacy. He's back sparingly at best. And specifically not in a New Japan ring. So, once again, not on Wrestle Kingdom. Once again, not really involved in much of anything in a New Japan ring. And it does lead to, unfortunately, a lot of speculation about his health and about what he can do and what he can't do in a ring, and if he's allowed to do this or that and the other thing. I mean, let's be honest. His style is that of, let's just call it very hard hitting. I want to go so far as to say dangerous, but look, watch the matches. Go back in time and watch him. Not even just in New Japan rings, but in other rings as well. It's a very physically demanding style, I will say. So, yeah, I guess there has to be some apprehension, because if he's healthy, or if he's believed to not be healthy by any parties, it's a challenge. It's a problem. It's,
I should point out, actually, Gabe Kidd did call him out at a backstage comment and challenged him to, I think he said, let's have a fight at your corner in the UK or something. So I don't think he'd be doing that if this was, New Japan directive to explicitly not use him, because, again, I think it might just be something that they either don't want to or cannot book him in Japan, but they're given the blessing for him to work AW or presumably work RevPro against Gabe Kidd. So, yeah, I think, if that one does go ahead, Gabe Kidd versus Shibata in the UK, that'll be a ton of fun. I'd love to see that.
Well, one thing I don't understand is if it is a liability issue or an insurance, I don't know how that works. Like, I don't know of any other, I'm really trying to rack my brain thinking, okay, when has that ever happened before? Like, and I'm not saying that's the answer. Like, I'm not saying that that's the reason. And again, I don't know, but it makes sense that it would be that. But I guess my point is this, is that, like, how does that work? Like, are there, like, if somebody is injured, do they, like, is it the insurance company that's stepping in and keeping him out of the ring? Or, like, how does he get clearance? Like, if somebody hurt their neck, like, all right, let's just say Homma, right? Was that an issue? I'm just thinking out loud. Like, how would they be involved? Why would they be involved? And I like, you know what I mean? Like, how does that happen? How does that work? I guess is my question. I guess I'd have to ask somebody there, but like, I have no idea how that works. And I don't know of any other times that's happened.
The only precedent was Bret Hart, because him and a lot of other wrestlers, like, I think this was in the late 80s, took out insurance policies with Lloyd's of London.
Right.
And I think Lloyd's at the time, they incorrectly assumed that the odds of a wrestler doing fake fights, claiming a permanent disability benefit, were quite small. So I imagine the landscape has changed a lot since then.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the precedent is these days for that.
Yeah, I remember that. Road Warriors had one. I think Kurt Hennig had one. Yeah, a lot of the top name guys in that time had stuff. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm curious. I think maybe we do some prodding, do some investigative journalism, as we like to do, which involves sending a text. Hey, what's happening here? That's our investigative journalism.
Yes. Countless Twitter DMs that go unresponded to.
Exactly. And text messages that sit undelivered.
Yeah, as soon as that tick turns blue, then oof, our blood is boiling, David.
Hey, speaking of that, can I? And I'm completely out of the loop. Trust me, I don't give a shit. We don't have a blue check, do we?
No, I'm not paying for one.
You got to pay for it now?
I'm not. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Do you? Okay. But how much is it?
So it's like $20 a month or something like that.
$20 a month? That's preposterous.
Yeah, I think so. We can blame Elon Musk for that horse shit.
His cars stink too, by the way. They're cheap. Cheap pieces of shit. All right, anyway, what are we doing?
Fucking idiot. Well, yeah, we've got quite a few shows to get through, David, so let's crack on. World Tag League, Night 1, Monday, November 21st from Korakuen Hall. The opening match, Kosei Fujita defeated Yusuke Nakashima in 8 minutes via Boston Crab. David, take it away.
Oh my God, I had a panic attack there. Whew, I got to catch my breath. There's no fucking way I'm talking about that. What did you think overall?
Anything stand out? Yeah, Tag League. Anything stand out for you?
All right. Let's work our way back. So, Goto Yoshihashi.
I've got all that very carefully weaved into our Wrestle Kingdom card preview.
Okay. Well, let me
we're going to be talking about that.
Okay. Well, let me just say, I'll give you my overall thoughts. It was okay. I don't think that there was anything that you really needed to go out of your way to watch. I thought I was disappointed in the sense that with a lot of new faces, I thought we would have maybe a little bit more juice. And I don't mean Robinson. And I just kind of felt flat on it. I don't really... Again, it was okay. There was nothing that was terrible. But to me, this was like... This felt to me like World Tag League. And thank God I'm off. Because I had to come up with takes. And I had none. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I think Booze and J. Michael did a tremendous job breaking it down in excruciating detail, in a good way, last week. So I don't feel the need to rehash ice cold takes on the Tag League. But it was nice to see a lot of fresh new faces, Damon.
Yes.
That's not the only fresh thing we've got about these parts, because we've also got the delicious food from our friends over at HelloFresh.
You know what? We've been away for a couple weeks, and you and your segues, perfect. You haven't missed a beat. You're right there, giving us the information that we need, and I need to be able to go back into my WhatsApp and go to our Google Drive to be able to bring up the copy for HelloFresh. And really, I really don't even need it at this point. Why? Because it is the America's #1 meal kit, right? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients. Seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. My goodness, what a great service that is. Skip trips to the grocery store. Count on HelloFresh to make some home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Now, HelloFresh is now offering, for those of you who partake, vegan recipes on the menu every week. So, if you are a vegan, you're in luck. So it's made without animal products of any kind, like dairy, meat, eggs, honey. Enjoy meals like sweet chili tofu bowls or spicy coconut curry stir fry. So you're in luck.
Ooh, yum.
Now we're talking, right? HelloFresh works with your ever-changing schedule. Plans are flexible, And you can choose your meals for the week, update your preferences, or change your delivery day all in the HelloFresh app. So, man, I'm telling you, you got it made in the shade. Here's what I want you to do. Go to HelloFresh.com/VOW65. Well, they're changing it all over the place. Jeez Louise. Now it's HelloFresh 65. Okay. So again, HelloFresh.com/VOW, Voices of Wrestling, VOW65. And use code VOW65 for, take a guess, 65% off plus free shipping. That's pretty awesome. Once again, HelloFresh.com/VOW65. Use VOW65 for 65% off plus free shipping. I can't stress it enough. What a great service. We use it here at home, and I think you should too. HelloFresh. Holidays easy, holidays stressful. No longer. Well, it's easy because HelloFresh is there, delivering fresh meals to your doorstep. Once again, HelloFresh.com/VOW65. Use the code VOW65 for 65% off plus free shipping. It's a Christmas miracle with HelloFresh.
I've just cooked a delicious HelloFresh meal. It's so yummy. I'm licking the plate clean. Listen to it. That's me licking the plate because it's so yummy. All right. Joe Gagney from the Joe Gagney from the 5-Star Match Game Voices Wrestling says, should World Tag League and this Junior Tag League run concurrently in the future, or should they be held at different times of the year? I think most people quite like them being at the same time because it's easy to ignore both of them in one shot.
It makes it convenient and fun. I don't mind it. I kind of like it together because at the very least, you have matches that technically mean something. Points are to be had. So, I don't mind them being together. I actually prefer being together.
Yeah, likewise. I think they were sort of different enough for it to feel different on alternating nights. They each had a distinct flavour. I swear I'm not segueing into another HelloFresh. Let's do another one. I like it so much. Let's do two. All right, let's crack on there. So we have two shows coming up. We've got Road to the Tokyo Dome on Thursday, December 22nd and Friday, December 23rd at Korakuen Hall. So notable things from the Thursday show here. We have 4 consecutive singles matches between members of United Empire and Young Lions, which is quite interesting. And the main event of that first night is Yo, Tanahashi, and Okada against Doki, Lance Archer, Minoru Suzuki. No sign of Okada's Wrestle Kingdom main event opponent there, but we'll get to him. And then on Friday, December 23rd, our main event is going to be an emotional one. So we have the Suzuki-gun final match. Taka Michinoku, El Desperado, Lance Archer, Minoru Suzuki versus Doki, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Taichi, and Zack Sabre Jr. So it is an intra-Suzuki-gun affair for the final match here. So we're going to finish up, presumably, with the snow falling on Suzuki-gun, as they call it a day. And I dare say a tear or two may be shed from myself, because that's going to be an emotional moment, because when Suzuki initially came out to do the announcement, my sort of pro wrestling brain was thinking, what is this? This is a missed opportunity. This is leaving money on the table. You've got to make an angle out of this. Have someone beat up Suzuki for leadership of the faction. But then I saw this announcement and I thought, you know what, that's going to be a lovely moment. That's going to be memorable. Now, they might still turn that into an angle. And, even if they do sort of go ahead with the amicable breakup of the faction, they could still do an angle with the remaining members at Union Dash. I mean, there's plenty of opportunity for that. So I quite like the way that they've done it. So, I mean, of course, we'll have to wait and see what the show is like, but it's going to be very, very sad, because I love Suzuki-gun. I think they've been one of the most entertaining factions in recent years. And people have written in about this. So Louis says, why does New Japan take nice things away from us? Suzuki-gun is gone. It will always be Ichiban. And John, who co-hosted for us on the Dad podcast, says, with the dissolution of Suzuki-gun, what does this do for the members and where do they go from here? Flynn says, please choose a new faction for every member of Suzuki-gun. Oh, and also I should mention that we have the final Takataichi Mania show as well. So that's going to be taking place I can't remember the date. I think it's sometime next week. It's going to be before this show. So I think, and on that show, that's made event by Taichi versus Shingo for the KOPW. We've got Taka Michinoku versus Hiromu. So if Taka kicks out of the nameless Hiromu role, he gets 1 million yen. We've got Despy and Lance Archer against Daisuke Sasaki and MJ Paul. Suzuki and Doki against Junkai and Tomoaki Honma, and a few other matches there. So that will be the last ever Taka Taichi Mania show as well. So really, it's the end of an era, Damon. It's very bittersweet.
I feel like the times are changing, aren't they? You know, when you talk about that faction, you know, when they were running roughshod over Noah, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't the biggest fan in the sense of they felt like they were just, you know, running roughshod over Noah, and they never really. To me, it didn't feel like they got their due from the Noah. We'll call them baby faces. They come back. They re-debut at one of the Dash shows. That was pretty fun, having them storm out and kick everyone's ass and take names, and that was good. Yeah, it is it is just another reminder that times change and people get older, and I think the members will form a faction within themselves. I would not be surprised to see that, because why not? That might be the easiest route to go. But I feel in my heart, and again, I don't have any confirmation on this whatsoever, but it does feel like this is kind of, I wouldn't say Suzuki riding off into the sunset, but this might be the beginning of the end when it comes to Suzuki in a pro wrestling ring. Because now, you know, it's just him, and it's easier for him to say, okay, this is the final tour. This is it. Away we go. It is sad because I do like them a lot. They might be right up there with I wouldn't say Chaos was a favorite of mine. LIJ was always good. United Empire I like a lot. So, yeah, they're definitely up there in the top of my favorite factions. Yeah, I think snow falling on a Suzuki-gun send off. I think that'd be nice. I'd be digging that. Yes.
So what do you think happens to them then? I would like them to stay together, or at least the core members, and they could rebrand as something else, maybe hoover up a few new names, and keep that core of it. I want to see, you know, Despy and Taichi and Zach and Doki all stay together, and Kanemaru actually, and just call themselves something else, pick up a few more people. Or do you think it's going to be like a full split and everyone goes off to a different faction?
Well, I mean, let's consider who's in this faction. I mean, Lance Archer really isn't here. He comes in for, tournaments and shit like that to be an AEW representative. But, I mean, it makes it easier for him to not have that obligation anymore, I guess. Kanemaru, I mean, he's no spring chicken. You know, it's not like he's, young lion-esque. He's up there. Taka, of course, is up there. So there's a lot of guys that are, or at least a handful of guys that are, up there in age, up there in years. So I would not be surprised if it's more of the Zachs, the Taichis, Dokis, those type of people that stick around. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see people leaving. I think the remaining people would be their own faction, calling them whatever. I don't know if they'll continue with the name or not. It would be weird if they did, I think. But look, this feels to me like a perfect opportunity to make, I don't want to say wholesale changes, but like major changes to not only Suzuki, but like New Japan. It is. I don't want to say it's a cleaning house. Don't get me wrong, but I think it just makes, by splitting that up, it does make it easier to put people, into the sunset. I do.
Yeah, I think 2023 is going to be a really exciting year. Things are going to be freshened up. I don't think Suzuki-gun is going to be the last faction that gets a big shake-up.
Right.
So I dare say we'll see some new factions emerging. So I think also with the depth of the roster New Japan has, maybe they're looking at guys like Lance Archer and Taka, maybe even Kanemaru, thinking, we don't need to use these guys anymore. I don't think I would still love for them to keep Kanemaru because I think he's still fantastic. But I definitely see guys like Kojima and Nagata getting sort of quietly phased out and sent to other promotions. And it does look like changes are afoot in New Japan.
It feels like it.
Let's bring us on.
I'm sorry, good. No, I was going to say, I mean, I know we're going to get there, but, you take a look at that Wrestle Kingdom card. I mean, if that doesn't tell you something that times are changing, then I don't know what else can. And with Suzuki-gun splitting and we'll just call it retiring that faction, times are a changing. Yes.
And the biggest change that we've got to talk about first is the fact that at Wrestle Kingdom 17, January 4th in the Tokyo Dome, cheering will be allowed. Finally. There are some caveats to that. There's loopholes about sustained loud chanting that's going to go on for more than 2 minutes. There's a special section for that. But
somebody's going to have a timer. It's like the Royal Rumble clock.
Stop! No, enough. But my point was, even before the pandemic, that no one ever really did that. I mean, unless you're singing the whole lyrics of an entire entrance theme, we're not going to get a Japanese crowd singing along for the entirety of Judas, for example. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. So I suppose people are worrying, have the Japanese crowds been conditioned to clapping so much that they've forgotten how to cheer, which I don't think is fair. I mean, I think if the show's good enough, people are going to cheer. And I think, being optimistic, I think it will get back to how it was quicker than people would think. I'm sort of bullish about this. I'm optimistic that things are going to get back to normal. And it's just a great moment for us personally, David, covering this promotion through the dark days of these clap crowds for the last few years has been fucking hard work. And there have been shows we've watched with, we've been sitting, watching, thinking, what are we doing? What is this? This is a shadow of the thing that we used to love. And it was a real grind continuing to cover it. And I'm glad that we did. And, the light is there at the end of the tunnel and we've made it through.
Yeah. It does feel good. And I know it might seem overly sentimental, but yeah, you're right. I mean, I think for everyone. I think everyone that wakes up and watches these shows. I think everyone that just continued to follow the promotion when, let's be honest here, some of the times it was pretty tough. You'd have a laundry list of things you'd rather be doing than watching a clap crowd show or a half empty show or a completely empty show. Yes. So, and here's the thing too. I will say this, that even though there's those caveats that you talked about, I'm telling you what, if a match is great, I can see people kind of bending some rules a little bit. You know what I mean? Like they're going to cheer. If other people are cheering and you're going to tell me I'm not cheering, I'm cheering. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? Arrest me? Yeah, they probably would. I guess my point is this, is that for the first time, I feel like mob mentality is appropriate. If they're cheering, cheer. Just fucking cheer. Who cares? Do it. But I'm glad that they have that. And here's the thing too: there are people that are traveling for this show. There are people that are going to this show, and I feel good for them in the sense that I would hate to have somebody to go over there, especially somebody who's not accustomed to it. You know what I mean? Like to go over from England or go over from Spain or go over from the United States or Canada. And okay, now I can't cheer. I know it seems somewhat selfish, but I don't know. It feels good, and it will feel good when you hear it and you feel it, and you're watching that dome show and you're into it along with them. So yes, good times are ahead. Good times are ahead.
123 says, looking back at New Japan last year, where there were small crowds, not a lot of foreigners. Did you ever think we would get to times like this where things seem to be great again? I mean, we're not back. We're not back to the peak of how things were in the sort of 2018, 2019 era. And I don't know if we'll get there. I mean, I feel a number of factors, not least AEW just basically gobbling up most of New Japan's Western market share, means I'm skeptical whether or not they will get back to those great heights. But I think they'll get close.
I think this is the start. I mean, look, if you're going to put on a match or you're going to put on a show that a Western audience is going to be able to sink their teeth into, this is we got some matches that people that can again sink their teeth into and are excited for, and there's a buzz about. So this is a good start. I'll take this any day of the week. And it helps. It'll help. Again, New Japan does. I feel like they do a good job of riding momentum. And there are times where they're very frustrating because you think that they gained momentum and then they take two steps back. I think this Wrestle Kingdom show is a step in the right direction for sure for a Western.
Yeah, I mean they know they know how important it is, and having a match like Ospreay versus Omega, it's the perfect opportunity for lapsed Western fans to look at this card and see the cheering's back and see a co-main event like that and think, you know what, I'm going to give them another try. And then if it hooks them, then that and New Year Dash, I think, are going to be absolutely critical in defining how the rest of the year is going to go for New Japan. If they put their best foot forward and put on a killer Wrestle Kingdom show and an exciting New Year Dash with lots of, fresh faces and exciting storylines and angles, then that will set them up really nicely to try and claw back some of that interest.
Absolutely.
This is huge. I mean, I can't overstate how important this Wrestle Kingdom is.
I mean, 1,000%. It's critical. This is a very important show for many reasons, and not the least of which being getting that Western audience that may have fallen off re-engaged. Now, the difficult thing is, I'm not worried about Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega putting on a banger of a match. Not worried about that at all. It's again keeping the momentum that they build, carry it over to New Year's Dash. What does that mean? Well, to me, that means we need an angle. We need something to occur to say, okay, we need to tune in tomorrow for Dash, and then Dash. Like, we gotta keep that momentum. That's the only thing that I have concerns with, is keeping that momentum. We just can't have a match and then that be it.
Right, and that's what New Japan has been the last 3 years, a promotion that you parachute in for a big match and then you dip out again, you don't come back for 6 months.
1,000%. There has to be a reason for people to tune in again and to be excited and to get buzz and to get, like, the match will do it, no doubt, right? The match is going to bring people in that have not tuned in quite a long time. And for all the knocks people give on Kenny Omega is making that happen. And I got no problem with it. None. That being said, it can't just be great match and then we're done. Now, I will say this, though. Kenny and Okada was a match that, and maybe times are different. Maybe the world has changed. But that match alone, and again, the feud, the build, the chase for Kenny with the title, all of that aside, because I think that does play a little bit of a factor. But that match at the Dome, that Meltzer was, I think that was the first time he did the 6 stars thing or whatever the fuck. That created such a buzz that one match brought so many people in for the ride for New Japan. Now, again, to me, those are casual New Japan fans. They're important, but they're casual New Japan fans. I mean, look, we were there through the tough times. So if that's gatekeeping, that's gatekeeping. That being said, I welcome as many people to get involved and get back on. They need to continue the pace, though. They can't just let it sit with one match being great, even though they did do it before. I don't know if we can do that again.
I'm not welcoming people back. I'm firmly keeping the gates locked. I'm only allowing people to return once they've answered a quiz about the lineage of the Never six-man titles over the last 3 years.
Perfect.
Just to prove that they're proper fans.
I would fail that.
All right, let's get into the card then. So, again, I'm not going to go too in-depth with it. I'm going to use the card to sort of piggyback other talking points.
Okay.
We will have our full Wrestle Kingdom preview show next week. But
hopefully.
I'd just like to have quick thoughts on the show and the matches as we go through them. So, first, we have 3 dark matches. So, pre-show, the opening match 1 with a 3-minute limit exhibition match is Ryohei Oiwa against the debuting Oleg Boltin, or Boltin Oleg, as he looks like he's going by now. So this is a guy who is a Kazakh amateur wrestler. He finished 5th at the Worlds in September at 125 kilograms in freestyle after losing to an Olympic silver medalist. He had an injured knee at the time, actually. So very, very hot prospect, Oleg Boltin. Very excited to see this guy in action.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about legit pro, or I mean, and I put in air quotes, pro wrestler. Yeah, from what I understand, this dude is a beast. like he's going to throw some kids around. That's for sure. And we'll see. Maybe he doesn't make a huge, flashy, impactful start because New Japan likes to take their fucking time. But
well, you say that, David. But I mean, there's this new directive from Bushiroad that they announced at their meeting that they really go to try to accelerate the process of these young guys coming back. And Oleg he's 29. He's not a kid by any means, but he looks like a beast. I mean, he looks like the sort of guy who's grown up in the mountains wrestling bears. So he is a guy that I want to see in action as soon as possible. I want him to see in the singlet, suplexing people out of their fucking boots. That's what I want from Oleg Boltin. Don't necessarily think we're going to see that in a 3-minute exhibition match, but excited to see him in the ring nonetheless.
Yeah, let's start somewhere, right? And it's a big show. That's a hell of a debut. So that's to me that's very exciting. I'm digging that.
All right, so opening match 2 is the KOPW 2023 Right to Challenge New Japan Rambo. So the KOPW 2022, as I mentioned earlier, will be concluded. It is this Monday, December 19th at Takataichi Mania. So that will be Shingo versus Taichi. I'm just checking what the stipulation is. I think it's a lumberjack with Texas deathmatch pinfall. So you got to pin your opponent and keep them down for 10 count. Something like that. Okay. But, so we don't know who is going to come in. I mean, of course, the KOPW is retired or vacated at the end of each year. So whoever wins that will be the 2022 champ, and then the 2023 provisional champ will be opened up with this Rambo. And this could be a really good one because there's a lot of names who are not on the main card of Wrestle Kingdom. We're looking at guys like Shingo and Taichi, as I mentioned, Kenta, Ishii, Great Khan, Jeff Cobb, Evil, El Phantasmo, even the guys who came to the G1 like Jonah, Tom Lawler. So I do want to give New Japan praise for not just trying to crowbar everyone onto the main card with a bunch of multi-man matches. So whilst there are some people on the main card that I don't really want to see on the main cards, I respect the fact that they've made decisions and think, no, these are the guys we want to showcase. The rest of you, sorry, you go into the Rambo.
Yeah. I'm a little bit more, dare I say, disappointed that there are a ton of people that I would much rather see in a tag, singles match, what have you, a little bit more prominent role than the Rumble. And again, card is subject to change, right? We all know that, but the way it looks right now, that there are a ton of guys that you would think would have a spot on the main show and not in the Rumble. And they have given spots to guys that leave me scratching my head. So while talent will be aplenty in the Rumble, I think there are going to be a lot more questions than answers of why would you have a lot of these guys in there when they can really help strengthen your main card.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. There were guys out of those lists I've put that I would rather see on the main card. But again, I respect the fact that this is not just, right, everyone gets to be on the main card. They've got their guys. These are the people we want to highlight this year. The rest of you, sorry, bad luck. Try again next year. I mean, we do have an interesting question from Vishal. So what's the best Wrestle Kingdom caliber match you could come up with using the talent left off the Wrestle Kingdom 17 card? So he's given an example here. Aussie Open and Karl on the Cob and Hanare against Kenta, El Phantasmo and House of Torture.
Great.
I mean, honestly, you could pair together any two of these guys. Like I said, Shingo, Kenta, Taichi, Ishii, Okada, Cobb, El Phantasmo, Jonah. Like, just pick any two of them, and I think that'll be a quality match. So, yeah, I can't do better than that one you've mentioned, Vishal. That's a nice one.
That is a nice one. And here's the thing too. I don't know. Maybe it's my naivete. Is that the word? These are guys that we're talking about that have been through the mud with us. We talked about those bad times. A lot of these guys are those guys. And the fact that they're not on the main show, I don't know. And there are guys that are just flying in and taking spots. I don't know. Just the more I think about it, the kind of more distressed I get about it. Like, again, Ishii, Shingo, ELP. I mean, these are all people that have been through the mud. Here's another question, and maybe I missed it. Maybe I'm. Where's Robbie Eagles?
That is a good question. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to leave Robbie Eagles off the fucking show? I mean, I'm assuming
I take your point. It's a bit of a kick in the teeth to a lot of these guys who've kind of held down the fort through the dark days.
You think? Yeah. It's like, I don't know. That bothers me a little bit. That bothers me a little bit because those guys. I mean, even guys how are we getting a lot of strong representation?
Love Target? Well, you're about to love it even more. With Target Red Card, you'll save 5% every day in-store and online. Find the Red Card that's right for you, whether it's debit, credit, or Target's new Red Card Reloadable, which doesn't require an existing bank account or credit check. With Target Red Card, you'll get exclusive deals and free shipping on most items. Visit target.com/redcard to get all the details. It's always a great day to save. Restrictions apply.
Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. Make every moment more with FanDuel. 21 plus and present in Ohio. Bonus issued and non-withdrawable free bets that expire 30 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Ohio. Go live date. Unique user identity verification required. Offer ends on the go live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This episode is brought to you by Zelle. Whenever you're sending money through an app or online, it's important to do it safely. Here are a few helpful tips. First, always make sure you know and trust the person you are sending money to. Second, confirm you have entered their contact details correctly. And finally, if you don't trust the person or your recipient is rushing you to send money right away, think twice before sending money through an app or online.
Where's that?
Well, from what I've heard, the directive is to try and keep Strong as separate as possible from the Japan roster. I mean, I don't know if that is legit or not, but apparently they want it to be two distinct entities without much overlap.
Your champion, your Strong world champion, I don't know what the fuck, is not going to defend his title on that show. Come on.
No, I mean, the way that they've booked it so far, it seems that Strong openweight title is only going to be defended on US-based shows. Because if they wanted Fred Rosser on this show, they could have had him.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like what they want to do.
Okay. But that's my point. Like, those type of decisions bother me. Like, I don't know. I just, like, you couldn't. How much do you think it would mean to him to defend that title on that fucking Dome show in a 6-minute match or a 10-minute match?
Yeah, I mean, we've already got on the main card. In the main card, we've got 9 matches, and if I'm not mistaken, 8 of them are title matches. So, if we start trying to get everyone on there,
all right. I mean, I get it.
Start taking time away from people. I mean, there's only one match really on this main card that I would happily swap for a Fred Rosser strong title defense, but we all know what that is. We're going to save our energy for that one.
Okay.
Okay, so the third match from the pre-show is going to be a Antonio Inoki Memorial 6-man tag match. So that'll be Yuji Nagata, Satoshi Kojima, Togi Makabe against Tiger Mask, Minoru Suzuki, and Tatsumi Fujinami. So all the dads getting involved there. Also worth pointing out here that the Flying Tigers team of Robbie Eagles and Tiger Mask is no more. They've decided to go their separate ways, which is very sad. But there we go. We're going to see these 6 old dudes mixing it up, and I'm sure that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, nostalgia. We're all these guys. I mean, Fujinami. My God, how important was he during the 80s? With Inoki and being kind of like the understudy, and you got Tiger Mask in there, and obviously it's not Sayama, but to have that part of New Japan's history involved in the match, and I think it's going to be a feel good match and a nostalgia checkbox. So I'm actually kind of into that. I think they'll do that justice.
So onto the main card there, the first match. This is the perfect opening match for Wrestle Kingdom, exactly what I want to see. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match. So the challengers, the winners of Super Junior Tag League, Leo Rush and Yo, challenging the champions, the team of Francesco Akira and TJP, Catch 2-2. Now, the 4 of these guys had what I thought was by far and away the best match on the tour itself out of Super Junior Tag League or World Tag League. So I'm really excited for them to have another bite of the cherry here. The final, where Leo Rush and Yo beat Chris Bay and Ace Austin, it was fine. I didn't love it. I don't think it was even in the top 5 matches that I saw from the Super Junior Tag League. There's just something about the Ace Austin and Chris Bay team didn't quite land with me. I didn't find them that exciting when they were doing their control periods. And I know Ace Austin is great. He was great during Best of the Super Juniors. So whilst I'm tempted to point the finger at Chris Bay, I mean, it just could be a question of synergy, chemistry. Yeah. I don't know, but it didn't quite land for me. And I thought the first half of that final was a bit disappointing. But I have every faith that this will not be. As I said, they've already wrestled each other and it was fucking great. And at the Tokyo Dome, hopefully it's as good. I mean, how much time are they going to get? They don't need more than about 15 minutes. I mean, they could probably put in a killer match at around 12. I'm just really excited about this one. And I want to throw some flowers. Well, first of all, to New Japan for not making it a multi-team affair. Because I thought it was going to be a 4-way. I thought they're going to want to get a load of guys onto this show, but they didn't. They're like, these are our 2 top teams. This is what we're going for. And I respect that. And I think it's the right choice. And I want to give some praise to Leo Rush because he's been tremendous. I think he's been one of the best guys on that tour. And people give him a lot of stick about, he retires all the time, he's unreliable. But every time he set foot in the New Japan ring, whether it has been on empty arena strong shows or whether it's been Super Junior Tag League shows in the middle of nowhere, he always gives 100% and he's injected new life into Yo. I really hope he sticks around with New Japan for a long time because I think he's killing it and he's exactly the kind of fresh blood that we want to see in the New Japan Junior division. I think he's been great.
I can't agree with you more. And I don't want this to be a circle jerk, but yes, 1,000%. And just what you said, he made Yo interesting. He gave him legitimately something to make interesting, right? A guy that we truly thought was just dead in the water. And yet, here we go. Here we are. I think this match will be fucking amazing. Yes, this is, all of these guys are going to want to outdo each other in the ring. And it'll be nuts and it'll be crazy. And yes, if you're sleepy on the East Coast at 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever fucking time the show starts, trust me, this will wake you up. You won't need the Red Bull. You won't need the coffee. This will wake you up. So, yep, great way to start. And yes, Lio Rush has been that, I don't want to say breath of fresh air to repeat it, but breath of fresh air. Like, he just found a way to make maybe the most dull, boring, uninteresting, who gives a shit guy on the roster new life. And
the tournament and the division, like the way he speaks and the way he carries himself, like it's death or glory for him. Like, it means the world to him that he wins this Super Junior Tag League tournament, which, for the past few years has been like, oh, okay, Roppongi 3KF won again, great. Whereas he's out there and he's, standing in the ring at the end of the show talking about how much it means to him, and you believe it. It sounds real. And that, the fact that he cares makes us care.
Yep. Authenticity. Yep. Absolutely. I know it's hard to say, but boy, and I'm sure there's other circumstances that will either make or break this statement, but boy, man, if you're going to lock up a junior, that's one I would love to keep on a roster for a decent amount of time. That's one guy I would love to have around for a long time.
Yeah, I'd co-sign on that. All right, second match then is the IWGP Women's Championship match. So the champion, Kairi, will be defending against the challenger, Tam Nakano. So again, we are not the experts on Stardom, but I saw enough from these two wrestlers during Historic Crossover to be excited for this. I mean, maybe some complaints about the placement. I thought it would be a lot higher up on the card. So hopefully they're given enough time to do their work and put on a good showcase and acquit themselves well. And I'm sure they will. And I suppose the interesting question mark hanging over this one is about Sasha Banks or Mercedes Varnado. So Mark says, does Welke deserve a spot in the Super J-Cast Hall of Fame for his Sasha prediction? Michael CC says, is Sasha Banks not joining Suzuki Gun the biggest disappointment in wrestling history? So yeah, let's throw flowers at Velt for getting that prediction spot.
Absolutely.
So the rumours are saying that Sasha Banks or Mercedes Varnado will be there. She's not wrestling, but she will be in attendance. So you would have to think that would mean she will come and challenge the winner of this match. And I don't know if she is going to be wrestling for Stardom full-time or if it's just going to be wrestling the big New Japan shows where this IWGP Women's Championship will be defended. Maybe a bit of both. Who knows? But I think that's a tremendous investment. If you want to get more casual eyeballs on the product, maybe pick up some of those lapsed WWE fans who are getting turned off the current product. I think Mercedes Varnado is a perfect way to do that. And it's a no-brainer to book what I assume will be her against Kairi for a future show. Maybe that'll be the Battle in the Valley show coming up in the States early next year. But yeah, that's got to be a slam dunk, surely.
And that could headline. You know what? That could headline. I was sitting here throwing flowers at Kenny Omega, and terrible job by me because she deserves just as many flowers. It feels like the buzz and the excitement and the fact that people are kind of wondering how this is all going to play out is also super important for a Western audience. Honestly, I don't know if Twitter is the right barometer to use, but I can't think of another person aside from Kenny that generates enough as much interest, and as many passionate fans. I think it's an unbelievable moment for New Japan to be able to capitalize on that. Again, we need to keep the momentum. We need to keep that going. And I think, she's not wrestling. That's definite. But, being involved in an angle, being involved in a challenge, being involved in something. And Kevin Kelly's going to get that over like a motherfucker, and it'll be a moment that will be shared online. Hopefully those copyright strikes, we won't have problems with copyright infringement because guess what, New Japan? That fucking shit's going to get shared everywhere. And that's what you need and want. So get the goons to have them pipe down searching the internet for videos and GIFs. Relax. Hold off on the trigger button there, pal. Just fucking hold off, because that will be shared and buzz will be generated if dopes don't get involved.
The third match will be the IWGP Tag Team Championship match. So the challengers, the winner of the World Tag League, Bishamon, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto, will take on the champions, FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood in their third defense. So I suppose it's a good time to talk about the World Tag League final, where Bishamon defeated Aussie Open in what was quite a surprise. I mean, everyone, myself included, thought Aussie Open were a shoo-in for that. I thought it was a really, really good final. I like what they did. I thought that the table spots added a bit of spice to it, and I just really like the dynamism and the passion, the fiery intensity of Bishamon, who are a team that I think we overlooked. I certainly overlooked. I was sort of hand-waving them when we were looking at potential winners, and I forgot how good they are. They're a really good tag team, and they've been really solid this year. No, not solid. Solid is unfair. They've been very good this year. Every time they've been put in a big spot, they've delivered. So whilst the winners are a surprise, and I know a lot of Western fans are upset about this, and I saw a lot of angry responses saying, why are they not doing FTR Aussie Open again? But I think it's important to acknowledge that, I mean, to my understanding, the Japanese fans do like Bishamon. They responded to the well. They get good crowd reactions. So, this is not a Wrestle Kingdom that is booked exclusively for the palate of the Western casual fans. So I think you can save that rematch for another show. Aussie Open versus FTR, I think, is a big money match now that they did so well at Royal Quest. So that's something that I think can draw a big number abroad, whether you do that in the States or in the UK or maybe even Australia, who knows? But I think that's something you can save. I think burning it at the Tokyo Dome would have been a mistake. So I actually support the decision to go with Bishamon instead of Aussie Open here for this match. And I do want to throw some flowers at Aussie Open. I thought they were tremendous during the World Tag League. And in particular, Mark Davis, his post-match promo after they lost the final was brilliant. He tapped into some real emotions and some real shit that had been going on in his life. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely watch that, because that's the perfect kind of pro wrestling promo where it mixes together the real world stories and the wrestling storylines and hits that sweet spot where, as you mentioned, it's that authenticity. So top marks to Mark Davis for that promo. Daryl says, I'm sure you'll talk about it, but Goto and Yoshihashi again. I don't give a fuck how high these guys are on the dad scale. I'm disappointed. This was an opportunity lost. Frank says, do you think FTR retain and spend more time in Japan? Or will Bishamon bring the belts back to be defended more often? In a perfect world, FTR is in Japan more. But that isn't likely. New Japan really need a more robust tag division on the regular, so I'm hoping for Bishamon. So, David, your thoughts on the World Tag League final and this match? Off you go, mate.
I'm in camp disappointment. While I do agree with the fact that Yoshihashi and Goto are a perfectly fine, better than average tag team, the idea of your biggest show of the year, where eyeballs are going to be, and not having that match with Aussie Open and FTR, does feel like a missed opportunity. Now, with that being said, we'll have a tag match where I think I would be shocked if FTR walk out of there with the titles. I would be shocked. So now we're looking at a potential rematch. Why? We're just going to bring in FTR and have them against Aussie Open for what reason? I mean, maybe one of those.
There's plenty of time for Aussie Open to get their win back over Bishamon in Japan.
Sure.
And go into the FTR rematch as the champions.
Okay, fine. I mean, we have to get to that point, and I'm not saying that won't happen, but we have to get to that point, and we're going to use it on another show, and hopefully, the same amount of eyeballs will be on that as well. I don't know. Look, I look at this card. And yes, maybe it is me and the idea of having this epic tag match on a dome show that a lot of people are going to be watching, as opposed to Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto. I'm sorry. I would rather have Aussie Open and FTR on a dome show.
You're
and
fucking racist, David. Why are you so against having Japanese guys?
I am not.
Sorry, you Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh.
You just want the whole card filled with white guys.
Oh, come on. Look. I think you strike while the iron's hot. If we haven't learned anything from the past couple years, is you strike when the iron is hot. Do the match. Who cares? Do the match. It'll be a great match. And I'm not saying that Goto and Yoshihashi won't have a great match. I'm not saying that at all. But you go down this fucking again. I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but I look at the fucking Rumble and I'm like, okay, I'd rather have fucking, I don't know, something else, somebody else in that Rumble in this. I don't know. Look, I would rather. I'm repeating myself. You know what I think. That's that.
Well, okay, let me sell it to you this way. So we know FTR like to have these big, epic main event grudge match style classics. You know, these sort of 30-minute things that we do with guys like Young Bucks or Briscoes, whatever, where there's loads of blood and gimmicks and weapons, and they're kicking out of each other's finishers and all this melodrama. So, how excited are you at the likelihood of Dax Harwood, who's building his Wrestler of the Year case, tapping out to the butterfly lock after a completely heatless, functional 9-minute match? Right. I mean, imagining them backstage, trying to lay it out with Bishamon saying, okay, and then we'll get the chairs out, and you could, throw me through a ladder, and then smash Dax through, 4 tables stacked on top of each other. Goto and Yoshihashi just sort of staring at them blankly and being like, how about we do the Sushi Zanbai pose, Shotenkai GTR finish? Okay, let's go home.
Right. That's exactly what we're
asking Marty Asami if he'll blade for them.
Right. Yeah. You're right. And you know what? Let's be honest here too. It probably wouldn't get the time that it would need. Not that it would need, but that you would want, right? So that's one thing where I would be like, okay, let's give it. It's Yoshihashi and Goto. I don't know.
It could have been worse, David. It could have been Good Brothers wrestling.
Oh God, yes.
So thankful for small mercies. All right, the fourth match then. This is a 15-minute time limit. The New Japan NJPW World TV Championship Tournament final. Red Narrator versus Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, we've talked about a ton about this tournament, this title, Red Narrator on previous shows. I'm tremendously excited for this match. I think it's going to be something that has the potential to steal the show. I mean, co-main event notwithstanding. For this one, I mean, the winner, I will save my picks for when we do our full preview show. I'm leaning towards Ren, but I just think it's really exciting for a guy like Ren Narrator to be having what I think is a pretty big singles match on this card, where a lot of other more experienced, more prominent wrestlers have not made the cut, which is proof of concept of this push that they're doing for the younger guys and trying to accelerate their progress. So this one I'm circling as one of my most anticipated matches.
Absolutely. Yep. And like I said, the times are changing, and this is proof of that. This is what we've been talking about. Yep. This is a nice bright light, nice big spotlight. And yeah, even if he doesn't win the title, I think his performance and they'll make him look strong. And here's the thing too, you're guaranteed something new, whether it's Zach with a singles title or Ren, getting his big win. Either way, I'm excited for it. So yeah, I think this will roll.
So by this point in the show, you've had a couple of strong zeros. Your bladder's getting full. That means it's time for the fifth match, the Never Openweight Championship match, Tama Tonga versus the champion, the Machine Gun, Karl Anderson. So Daryl says, pardon my vulgarity, but how the fuck did Karl Anderson get a singles match at Wrestle Kingdom 17? His last outing, Fale looked like a young Sayama. Bash says, bright lights for light bright lights for like shite all the time. Am I right? Oh my goodness, Damon, that excuse for a wrestling match with Hikuleo at the finals was just the most horrific, my least favorite match of the year by far. And it wasn't, there was no botches or anything, but it was just offensively bland. It was just Karl Anderson at his absolute worst, just sleepwalking through it, just a lazy walk and brawl. And then he was sitting in rest holds for the rest of it. I think he took about 2 bumps, and that's being generous, made Hikuleo look like dog shit. And I know this is part of his gimmick, and I tweeted about this, and he clicked like on my tweet, which I found extremely gratifying. I was glad that he read every single word of mine. Yeah, he did.
Did you tag him?
I don't know if that's... No.
So he vanity searched himself.
Yep.
Oh.
So he can eat shit, and I'm glad he saw that. And him liking it, is this little, I see you. Oh, good. Glad you read it. And this is not adding to your gimmick. You should be ashamed of yourself for doing that. But to be honest, Damon, I'm not even angry at Karl Anderson because this is what he does. We all knew he was going to do this. We all knew he was going to win the match. I mean, Karl Anderson versus Tama Tonga at Wrestle Kingdom, that's been the destination from the start, from the second Tama Tonga lost the belt to him. So Karl Anderson does Karl Anderson things. We can't get annoyed at him. You can't get annoyed at a baby for shitting its nappy. That's what they do. I'm annoyed at New Japan here for allowing this to happen and making Hikuleo look like that. And, I'm sorry, I know that's his whole gimmick, bright lights, blah, 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 all that bullshit. I like to see good wrestlers trying hard to entertain fans and put on a good product. And, you may think that's incongruous with my love for the House of Torture, but to me, these are two very, very different things. To me, Karl Anderson is showing utter contempt for the promotion, for the title, for his opponents, and for the fans. And I hope he just fucks right off out of this company after this.
I was going to save it for when we do the Wrestle Kingdom full preview. But, yeah, like the idea that, he's a working man's worker and, he's, doing, the best of smart pro wrestling. Stop it. What is this, 1977? It's it's unbelievable, and I don't know why, how New Japan thinks this is a great idea.
Well, we know why this has happened. I don't need to point fingers, but you know who's responsible. No, I know who's responsible. Yeah. The fans do. So I'm not going to say it, but I know. You can figure it out.
It's not hard. Yeah. And okay, fine, but I don't know. Like, it's disappointing. It's fucking embarrassing. The whole situation has just been a total fucking joke. I get it. It's pro wrestling. I get it. But I hate to sound like a fucking this is my world, but like the fact that we're having to have this conversation and in this day and age, it's fucking preposterous. What?
Look, play devil's advocate. Could you tell me one good thing that's come out of this Karl Anderson run?
Like, okay, so you could give me the excuse of, well, he draws and he makes the company a ton of money. No one is buying a ticket to see Karl Anderson. No one. He is not drawing any money. He is not. He's involved in shows that make money, but trust me, he's not the reason why a show is making money, to be very clear. I just, with the amount of, once again, let's go back to the fucking Rumble, the amount of talent that is on that show that literally have nothing to do except run in, run out when their time is done, is embarrassing when in a match that should be important, but it's not. And how about Tama Tonga? You think Tama Tonga's looking forward to this? Now, I know that they're probably buddies from back in the day in the dojo, and they probably are all, having a little laugh behind the curtain. But do you think he was really looking forward to this? Like, do you think he's going to shine in this? I hope so, but I have... Right.
I'm hoping that Karl Anderson shows more respect for Tama Tonga than he did for Hikuleo. Because the way he treated Hikuleo in that match was a fucking insult. And I'm not saying Hikuleo is any, kind of super prospect, but I've enjoyed his work this year and he deserved better than that.
I agree.
So if I were Tama Tonga, I would be watching that thinking, what the fuck? You've just absolutely clowned him there. So, maybe Karl Anderson will have his working boots on and will put on an absolute epic and make Tama Tonga look incredible. But I believe that when I see it.
Okay. And here's the thing, though. If it does happen, we would have no problem throwing the flowers. Absolutely no problem whatsoever. And be like, he showed up. He did well or great, whatever. I just don't see it. I don't see it happening. And again, everybody, you're right. The bladder's going to be full. We're going to have, maybe get a sandwich, maybe get a cold, frosty beverage. That's the time. Like, I really feel like, and I hate this for Tama Tonga too, but like, I don't want to say we should all be protesting because there's no way to fucking log it. There's no way to be like, oh, they're away from their TV, but just fucking. I don't even want. I am not at all interested in the match. Zero. To the point where I don't care. Like I'm not going to probably watch the match. Who cares? Why are we? You know what I mean? No one makes me even. We're talking about this fucking clown. You know what I mean? Jeez. Whatever. Look. Yay. Cash your paycheck. Cash your paycheck.
Darryl says, what's your take on the Fed simps thinking this means that there is now a working relationship? Jay White will be shown up at the Rumble, probably to be tossed out by quote-unquote theory. I mean, there's a good chance Jay White does appear at the Royal Rumble, but it's not because of a working relationship between these two companies. But yeah, no, I would not hold your breath for the third, whatever it is, Forbidden Door to be open between New Japan and WWE. This is not what's happening.
I cannot. I would be... no, no, it's not happening. Watch it happen.
Okay.
Number 13. Who's this? He doesn't even wrestle here.
It's Jason Flickknife. All right. Elliot says, in honor of Machine Gunker, what's the job you had where you phoned it in and did the least amount of work for the most money?
This podcast.
Selling cable TV. Sorry, we get money for this?
No, well, come on.
And it says, mine was selling cable TV door to door, never sold a single cable package, only worked a few days, got a paycheck for 2 months before being angrily fired. I mean, the state I turned up at work yesterday when I was extremely hungover from our work Christmas party.
Yeah.
I was just sitting at my desk trying not to vomit, putting on Home Alone for the kids. That was a Karl Anderson special right there.
There was one year, I had I forget what it was, but somebody's birthday maybe. And they took off, so it was like, go to the bar, Damon. I was like, all right, you don't have to ask me twice. And it was like in the middle of the day, like a little lunchtime. All right, I'm gonna get some lunch, have a beer or two, and then get back. Dude, I drank so much. I got back. I missed a meeting. I missed a phone call. And they're like, where are you? I have all these text messages. Where are you? I was fucking sleeping on my couch. Fucking. Oh,
the Wrestle Kingdom 14 special.
It was, seriously, it really was. So that probably a couple of years. What was I doing then? I was the same thing, but just for a different company. Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Sixth match then is Keiji Muto's last match in New Japan. So Shota Umino, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Keiji Muto against Bushi, Sanada, and Tetsuya Naito. So this doesn't have me sort of scratching my head at that Yokohama show they've got coming up, because I had assumed that was going to be Muto related. Now, of course, we can't rule out the possibility if that is some sort of cross-promotional New Japan Noah gimmick show, then this would technically be his last New Japan match, and that the Yokohama match would be Being a cross-brandish, Muto is exactly the sort of grifter who would, try and milk it.
Muto's last match with blue tights. It's the last time he will be wearing blue.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully this match is a vehicle to put over Shota Umino. He should be the guy picking up the fall, but you never know when Keiji Muto is involved. But I suppose this is also a good opportunity to talk about Tetsuya Naito getting into the Wrestling Observer News Hall of Fame, thanks to me and us. Yay. Finally, we don't have to do the fucking discourse next year, because every time I saw a ballot with someone voting in Japan that didn't include Naito, my blood pressure raised several points. So, I'm not going to do the whole rant. If you want to hear some good gloating, then you can listen to Wrestling Omakase, because John Carroll did a tremendous segment on that. But I think at this point, if you are a voter and you voted in Japan and you haven't voted for Naito, you are telling on yourself. You are exposing your whole ass, as the kids would say. So he's in, he deserves to go in, and thank fuck we don't have to talk about it anymore.
I saw some of those ballots. Yeah. Oh, but I saw some of those ballots. I was like, what the fuck are some of these people?
Absolute state of them.
I mean, how do you get a ballot? You just ask?
I know. How do we get a ballot?
Well, good point.
David Bentley Fart says, what should we make of Naito and Tanahashi not having singles matches? Is it just a booking oversight, or is 2023 the year their transition from being top guys? Multiverse Ace says, yeah, there you go. Who do you think comes out of Wrestle Kingdom looking like a bigger star, Ren or Shota? And he also asked, what was more painful, Karl Anderson's effort or Harry Kane missing the penalty?
Ooh.
I mean, that hurt. That was upsetting, because we played so well and we tried really hard, and I thought we gave a good account of ourselves, and I wasn't expecting us to beat France. What I wanted was basically to give a good account of ourselves and have an entertaining match and give France a competitive game, which we did. So I should be happy with that. But it was upsetting, and I don't know why I do this to myself. Every single time England enter a tournament, I get my hopes up. And even now, I'm sort of telling myself, it's a young squad, they're going to be better next time. The comforting thought I have is that the next time the World Cup rolls around, Esther will be 6 and Arthur will be 4. So they'll be old enough to watch it with me, and then I could drag them down into the misery and despair of being an England fan with me. They can share my pain. I digress.
Do you think, okay, 1 year, it has to happen one time, right? That's
what I mean. Since I've been following international football, I've seen France win multiple tournaments, Germany, Spain, Italy, Portugal, Netherlands, fucking Denmark, Greece are winning shit. So I'm just thinking, when is it our turn?
Right.
What's going on? Surely law of averages, England have got to win something before I'm dead.
Right. But that's sports misery, man. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've seen so many dumb, dopey teams win Stanley Cups, and you're just like, well, I mean, come on. What the fuck? One fucking time. Can I just have one? I don't want 12. One. Yeah, I know. Trust me, I'm right there.
I know, that's what's pissing me off about France. Again, since I've been following it, they've won 2 World Cups. They've won European Championships. They got to the 3 World Cup finals, and they're in another one now. Just let someone else have a fucking turn. So selfish.
I agree.
Bastards.
Dicks.
Okay, sorry. I've got a huge tangent there. Talk to me about Keiji Muto's last match in New Japan.
Okay. I'm excited for it. But look at this match, though. This match is, yes, we have some of the brightest stars New Japan has to offer in this match. One of which is a youngster who is going to have a rocket ship strapped onto him. And there is no question in my mind why he is in this match. And I'm not talking about Bushi, Joel. The reason why Bushi's in this match is just, well, we all know. This is we talk about Western fans, and we talk about this is a Hall of Fame type match with people that are legitimate stars. But, and help me here, because I don't know if I have the exact answer or not. But I'll just say this. Hiroshi Tanahashi is in a multi-man tag match at Wrestle Kingdom. The era of what we were accustomed to, I think, is over. I think this is the beginning of that seismic change. We are no longer in the Tanahashi era. We are no longer in the Ace era. It's a little bit distressful to me. Again, this is a big, huge, marquee Hall of Fame type match for a Japanese audience and even the New Japan Pro Wrestling audience, as it should be. Hiroshi Tanahashi's in a multi-man tag match at Wrestle Kingdom. I just want people to be able to digest that, because to me, that's the biggest change of all. That's one of the biggest changes of all. And again, the fact of who is in this tag match. They could have picked anyone on that fucking roster. They're here to change the guard.
Yes. As I said, I mean, this has got to be the moment to not crown Shota Umino, but, this is very intentional to have, the past ace, present ace, future ace, all on the same team. And I'd be interested to see where Shota Umino goes after that, because this is a really big spot for him. I know, we're seeing guys like Narita from his class get these championship singles matches, but I think the significance of this 6-man tag match should not be lost on the audience. Okay, seventh match then is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match, the 4-way between Master Huato, El Desperado, Hiromu Takahashi, and Taiji Ishimori. So again, we talked about this one before. I thought they set it up really well in that fantastic tag match that they had. I think that was at Battle Autumn Osaka, I want to say. But that really got me hyped for it. I think this is going to be the chance to make a start out of Wato. I think it's going to be tremendous fun.
I will say Wato has improved. How about that? Again, I am here scratching my head with the limited amount of hair follicles that I do have. Again, he's in a big spotlight match, and there are a lot of guys sitting on the bench. So maybe not in a junior capacity, but still, I think, to me, Master Wato being in the bright lights, that does leave me questioning some things. But this match will be fucking great, right? I don't think anybody's going to think that it's not. I mean, we'll give predictions maybe next week when we do the preview show. But yeah, again, another barn burner, another exciting, fun, tons of talent in the ring. So yeah, that's going to be a good match.
Double main event here. So 8th match is the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship. Will Ospreay with his 5th defense against the challenger Kenny Omega. Now, am I overhyping this by saying this has got the potential to be one of the best matches in recent history?
On paper, it does. On paper, it does. That's a lot of pressure too to put on those two guys, but this is the match. This is what's bringing the boys to the yard. This is the milkshake, if you will. It's exciting. It's fun. It's buzzworthy. It'll be epic. And I think even New Japan knows it. Because have you seen the Wrestle Kingdom poster?
I have not, no.
Okay.
Front and center on it.
Big front and center. Big front and center. Now, again, we always try to dismiss posters and who's on the poster and who's not on the poster. See if you can find that. I saw it. I forget where I saw it, but see if you can find that, because that is positioned at least on the poster, and the poster is there to what? Sell tickets. Front and center. Big as can be. And everyone else is much smaller, including your IWGP World Heavyweight Champion and the Challenger.
Yeah, well, let's get on to them now. So the 9th match and our main event is the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. I keep forgetting Jay White is actually the champion, so this will be his third defense, and he'll be facing Kazuchika Okada. Commander Ray says, why has little to no effort been put into the Okada-Jay feud when it's supposed to be the main event? I mean, Jay White's not even turning up for these Road to Korakuens to build the match. I mean, Jesus Christ, though, it's just dead. Absolutely dead. Get the defibrillator out, clear, boop, nothing. Yeah. Not a fucking pulse on this one. It is a stone cold corpse lying at the top of this Wrestle Kingdom card. You know, we know what it is. This is just, Jay White is the generic baddie for Okada to beat and everyone to say Ishii-san da at the end. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope there is a swerve and a hot angle that's going to, make me eat crow on this, but I don't think it will be. This is just, as I said, absolutely dead. And Jay White has just completely shit the bed on building this and hyping this. It's, when he was in the match at the final, just repeatedly drawing attention to the clap crowds, it's fucking nonsense because who does that build heat for? It doesn't build heat for the match. It doesn't build heat for Jay White. It doesn't build heat for his opponent. It doesn't build heat for Okada. It just draws attention to something that we're all trying to forget. So him just constantly pointing out that, oh, look, your own clapping is bad. Yes, we know. Yeah. And it's not helping. Yeah. It just kills the crowd even more. It absolutely sucks the life out of it. He's a guy who's just really struggled this year to come up with any new ideas. I think he's really struggling to adjust with the clap crowds. And now that we have a cheering crowd at Wrestle Kingdom, what's the angle going to be? What's the gimmick going to be? How's he going to handle that? So here's a guy who I just look at him, and we've talked about it before. I'm wondering, is this it? Is this the end of the line for Jay White and New Japan Pro Wrestling? Because if it is, that might not be the worst thing in the world. He looks like a guy who's out of ideas and out of motivation, and I'm sure the match will be really good. I mean, I've got no doubt that I'm going to watch it, and it will tick all the boxes that you want from a Wrestle Kingdom main event. But it just feels like there's no heart in it. There's no excitement. There's no passion. It feels like a foregone conclusion.
It has been one of the worst builds to a Wrestle Kingdom main event in recent memory. I know people will go back to like Kenny's weirdness. This has been really not even bad in the sense that it's you're supposed to be excited for a main event, and I don't think anybody is. And let's be honest here, the semi-main event is the main event at this point, in a lot of people's eyes. We've been saying it for a while that this Bullet Club thing needs to fucking get moving here. And
what thing? There is no thing, Damon.
I know.
I mean, people have been telling me there's a Bullet Club Civil War. Where?
Yeah.
I haven't fucking seen one.
I mean, how many times have we've heard that from numerous people though? And it was a line to do so. You're right. It's not. It's if it is going to happen, it has to happen at the end of this match, don't you think? Like, don't you think there has to be something that happens where? Because this is literally. How many times
have we had this conversation?
I know.
How many times have we said, "Oh, this is going to be the moment where evil turns on Jay White"? I feel like an idiot even bringing it up. They're not going to make a fool out of me again, Damon.
Okay, I mean, I'm with you. I'm disappointed in the sense that it was there, and it would have been pretty cool. I think, like, it would have definitely, I think, re-energized Bullet Club.
It needed to happen 2 years ago.
I know. But you thought maybe, okay, this would be it, and it would be done well. I thought, and it was always teased. And look, who knows? But I got to be honest with you. At this point, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what the fuck happens with them. Who gives a fuck? And it's so spread out all over the place, and it's so disjointed, and it's so like, who cares anymore? Yes, the match will be good. Of course it will be good. It's a Wrestle Kingdom main event. It will be good. But yeah, going into it, like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably at like a 2 or a 3 when it comes to excitement level or buzz or.
Okay, all right, good question. All right, let me ask: if you were to rank all 9 of these main card matches in order of how excited you are, how close to the bottom is this?
Oh, it's like, whew, like I said, 2 or 3. Like I'm like Karl Anderson and Tama Tonga have that hands down. Number 1. Trust me, of the entire card, it probably settles in at the second spot, to be honest. I mean, you figure the Stardom match will have great action, unbelievable wrestling, and the possibility of a pretty historic angle. Even the tag match will be very good. The junior tag match will be fantastic. Kenny and Omega are going to fucking blow the roof off the joint. And even like the multi-man tag with Tanahashi and Muta, and that'll be so fun. It's near the bottom of the list, Joe. That's sad. Just think about that. That's fucking sad. All right, so let me ask you this. What was the biggest cause of that? Was it A, Jay White, and just, again, feeling like he's out of bag of tricks? B, Okada with the I'm not defending this G1 thing. I'm it, and that's it. Or is there another reason?
I've got to primarily point the finger at Jay White just because, he's... I mean, they should both get some of the blame, to be honest. I think it's just kind of disgraceful that we've got to this point and they've failed to do any kind of interesting or meaningful or memorable interactions together. That's got to be on both of them. But, I mean, just the fact that Jay White is not at these Road to Korakuens, which are there primarily to build up hype for Wrestle Kingdom, and for the IWGP champion to not be there is some heinous shit in my eyes.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that's more Jay White, or do you think that's the company? Like, the company said, Jay, we need you here.
Yeah. And again, this is the same thing that I said about the Karl Anderson thing. They have allowed that to happen, and they've allowed this to happen. If you're in charge of this company, you say, Jay White, get out there and do a fucking face-to-face with Okada or cut a promo on him. Just do something. Just do something to make people give a shit about this match.
As much as New Japan does a lot of good things, and New Japan does things that just make you fucking scratch your head like, who's running the ship here? What the fuck? Like, this is a company that, not for nothing, took great pride in their heavyweight title situation. You know what I mean? Like if anything, everything down the bottom of the card was falling apart, you knew that title meant something and it was important and people were into it. I can't remember we would have to go back to pre-AJ, right? Where the world title has just been like, what the fuck are we doing? That's weird going into a Wrestle Kingdom. I got to be honest with you. And I think here's where, if I'm going to point the blame, I'm not blaming the wrestlers because the wrestlers are not like Jay's not just going to run through a fucking curtain and start fucking cutting a promo on Okada unless the company says, Jay, go out there. You know what I mean? Like, Jay's just a fucking pawn in this. And I don't even think the two guys had a ton of opportunity to build this. Like, I can't put it necessarily on the wrestlers per se. I mean, they weren't really given any opportunity to do anything. Right?
Yeah, again, that's what I'm wondering now. Are management looking at this thinking, yeah, this is good. This is great. They can't be happy with this. They must.
I mean, they had the fucking blueprint of it. They wrote the fucking blueprint. And they I don't know what they're doing. You can blame Jay White all you want, I blame the company because the company gave them nothing to work with.
Right, well, let's look ahead then. So Cola Blue says, what's more likely post Wrestle Kingdom, Jay White babyface run in New Japan or Jay White leaving for AEW or WWE? Cola Blue says, is an Okada heel turn on the cards, perhaps with evil Masahiro Chono goatee, transitioning him to a sort of final boss figure for Umino, Narita, Okada, etc. to aspire to defeat? And Frank says, who do you think the next challenger for the IWGP World Heavyweight title will be? We all know the right answer is Honma. Honma will run wild in 2023.
Wow.
I mean, just based on promotional materials, I do have a feeling that Jay's sticking around. I don't think it's going to be like, right, January 5th, he's off. Although he is behaving, conducting himself in a way that suggests that he is going to be leaving. Okada, he doesn't need like a, sort of theatrical, dramatic heel turn to do that. He could just slide into that role to be that final boss without having to drastically change his appearance or his behavior. And I think that's one of the things Okada's been really good at, is depending on the circumstances that he's in, he's able to slide into that role. I think one match that sticks in my mind was the 2017 G1 match against, I want to say, Satoshi Kojima, where he was just an absolute shithead in that match, and it was great. So he could do that without actually doing any dramatic narrative turns. Who's going to be the next challenger? That's a tricky one. I mean, it is difficult for me to resist the temptation not to point to Shota Umino and do, the Rainmaker shock, but this time with the roles reversed, and this time Okada's on the receiving end of it. But yeah, maybe it'll be Jonah. Let's say Jonah comes out and challenges him. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you can give it to one of the up-and-comers. I think that might be a little bit early, but they've done it before. Let's put this show in a nice box and a bow and say it's Shibata.
The show in a box and Shibata's brain in the jar.
Shibata's brain, yes. Yeah.
All right. Flynn says, thoughts on the Wrestle Kingdom card. It's great to see a normal one-night card where every match means something. I'm excited, or at least interested in everything on the card except the main. Even without Okada, never really fails in a big spot. I mean, top to bottom, this is I think is a great card. I'm very excited for it.
Yep. I'm into everything, and even though I'm disappointed in the build and how it seems unimportant, I know that once the bell rings, I'll be into it. So I think top to bottom, this is one of the most stacked Wrestle Kingdom cards. Yeah.
Looking ahead to New Year Dash, that's going to be a mystery vortex show. So the cards will be announced. Will be decided when wrestlers enter the ring with their entrance music. So they're not even going to give you a card on the day. You're just going to have to wait and see who comes out of the ring. So the rumors are that there's going to be a team of All Japan renegades on this show. So Jake Lee is the big name that has been touted there. Does that excite you? Do you see much of Jake Lee? Are you looking forward to this?
Yeah. I mean, it's something new. You'll have new matchups and things that, when G1 rolls around, you're always like, okay, maybe if they pulled somebody from New Japan, or excuse me, All Japan or Big Japan or wherever. Yeah, I'm into it. I could definitely get into that. Yes.
All right. Last question for you before we wrap it up. Andrew says, does Takami Obari deserve the Promoter of the Year award for facing down the Japanese government to bring back cheering and for opening New Japan up to work for other promotions? Or does his handling of the Ibushi situation and going along with Karl Anderson shit disqualify him?
I think there are positives, just like with everything with New Japan. There are positives and there are negatives. And that's why we talk about it on this show. Is he Promoter of the Year? I think he can be in the discussion, but look, the Karl Anderson thing is just one of those things. It's a middle of the card, lower end of the card, and it's. It is a head scratcher, but okay, great. No, he's not Promoter of the Year.
Right, well, on that bombshell, that will do. I'll go to bed. It's redcircle.com/shows/super-j-cast. If you want to throw some money our way, we always appreciate that. If you want to join our Discord, you can send me a direct message on Twitter and join the fun at Cobra Kawaii and prowrestlingtees.com/super-j-cast for one of our t-shirts. Big thank you to editor Dan. You can find him on Twitter at LousyHero219. Don't forget to vote in our year-end awards. You can find that on Twitter at the Super Jcast. Subscribe to Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network for other great shows. And also, I have written a secret Santa review for a match that was gifted to me. And it is probably the most insane thing I've ever written. It hasn't been published yet, but watch this space because hopefully it will go up soon. I just completely lost the plot when I was writing it. So look forward to that. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes. Thank you everyone for listening and goodbye.
Venture X from Capital One is the travel card for people always asking,
where next?
You earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars, and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel, and 2x miles on everything else you buy with Venture X. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. Make every moment more with FanDuel. 21 plus and present in Ohio. Bonus issued and non-withdrawable free bets that expire 30 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Ohio. Go live date. Unique user identity verification required. Offer ends on the go live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.